This is going to be a quick little video to show how to make Cajun red beans in an Instapot. First, start with good kidney beans. Dump those into a sizable container. Check to make sure no rocks got into the mix. Sometimes they do. Fill the container. You want to get at least twice as much water as the volume of beans, because these will soak overnight and will more than likely double in volume. But cover these up, set them on the counter, come back in 24 hours. Okay, so now that our beans have soaked overnight, we start with the trinity. You're going to need 2 bell peppers, 2 onions, and about 5 or 6 stalks of celery. All the trinity is basically equal portions of these 3. I use a 7-cup container to place my chopped veggies into. It helps me to visualize when I've got a third of each ingredient. But you'll see here, I'll show it to the camera in just a moment, and you can see I've got about 1/3 full with chopped celery. On to the bell peppers. Bell peppers are pretty much diced up the same way. Julienne them and then dice them into equal portions. The more equal in size you get your chopped veggies, the more evenly they'll sweat down when you go to saute them. And we got our 1/3 of bell pepper there. Now for the onion, I cut the top off, and then I only cut off a small piece of the root. You want to leave that ball right there because that helps hold the onion together while you're chopping it. Slice it in half, julienne, and dice it. Now that we have our trinity ready, we'll just set that aside until later. Now what I do here is I take approximately 2 tablespoons of a good canola oil. I just use the cap to measure it out, generally about 2 tablespoons. And now you want to set your Instapot to the saute mode. It should default to 30 minutes, and you want to make sure it's set to the more setting, so it's at the highest temperature. It takes a couple of minutes. You should see the oil start to heat up, and when it's hot enough, you'll see the veggies will start to simmer as soon as you get them in there. So add everything to the pot. And then what you want to do is give it a quick stir and get everything nicely coated with the oil. And then I use the 3-finger pinch method to grab 2 pinches of salt. This does 2 things. Obviously, it helps to season your trinity, and the addition of the salt will help it sweat down. "30 minutes later, during the 30 minutes of saute, you want to check on it occasionally, keep stirring it until it's done. Now that our veggies are translucent and the 30 minutes is up on the saute, I have 8 ounces of ham here that I'm simply dicing up into little cubes. And adding those to the trinity. Now we'll grab our beans that have soaked overnight. Actually did have to add a little bit extra water to this to keep them fully covered. But now we'll drain it and take our drained beans and add it to the pot. Next is our seasoning. We got cayenne, bay leaves, onion powder if you want it, and of course garlic powder. Give everything a stir again, get it all incorporated. Now, instead of using the garlic powder, I have some leftover garlic from a shrimp boil. So I'm going to simply take this garlic, take the peel off, and throw it in. You can use fresh garlic, and I can tell you from experience, all you gotta do is throw it in whole. With the 50-minute pressure cook time and then the 50-minute wait time, by the time you open up that pot, the whole cloves of garlic will just melt away. Now this is important. I found that the best ratio for this is exactly 2 cups of liquid. I like to use the chicken broth because it adds a little more flavor than just regular water. Toss in a couple of bay leaves, cayenne to taste, and if I hadn't added the whole garlic, I'd add the garlic powder. And here I'm patting down the beans to get them down level with the water level. I want to get it as even as possible. Put on the lid, make sure the pressure valve is closed. We're going to set it to manual for 50 minutes.
A few moments later.
When the 50-minute timer is up, we'll set another timer for another 50 minutes. And just let it sit. When the 50-minute time is up, we're ready to finish off our beans. What I'd like to do is take about 5 stems of, if you want to call it, green onions or shallots. I chop those up. I reserve a small portion to the side. But first, I'll give it a stir. And find my bay leaves and pull those out. They've given all the flavor they're going to give at this point. There's no reason to leave them in the beans. And you sure don't want to eat one by accident. And now with the bay leaves removed, I will mash up a small portion of the beans to help thicken the sauce. What I typically do is I'll smash it to the side of the pot, making one rotation around, and then give it a good stir. Add in the chopped green onion, another little stir, we're ready to plate. What I have here is approximately 1 cup of rice. And I'll typically add 2.5 ladles of beans to go with a cup of rice. Garnish with the leftover chopped onions we saved. And I actually like using both the Tabasco and the Zatarain style of hot sauce. Voila! Dinner is served.